welcome to Bitstorm, a comedy game design podcast by two guys who know nothing about comedy nor game design. I'm Ben Slinger, and with me, as always, for episode 299, is Trevor Scott.
Hello.
Hello. We are very late in our 299s, in our 200s.
Very much so.
We still haven't figured out what we're doing for 300, but
at this stage,
see.
it will be a normal episode.
It will be a normal episode because we have nothing planned. But that's for next week, Ben and Trevor, to figure out. This week is 299. Trevor, what are we doing?
We haven't decided yet. So 3, 2, 1 movie.
It's just
like
one of those weeks.
3, 2, 1 movie.
So
we're
going
doing
to
movies.
take some random movies and we're going to make up a video game. There might be a video game tie-in to that actual movie, or they might just take the title or the premise of the movie and we turn that into a game. So, Trevor, what do you got?
I have The Birdman of Alcatraz.
Ooh. I have Term Life.
Ooh.
A movie from 2016. If Nick Barrow can stay alive for 21 days, he'll die happy. Everyone Nick knows wants him dead. Mob bosses, contract killers, and dirty cops. Performing the last act of a desperate man, Nick takes out $1 million insurance policy on himself payable to his estranged daughter. The problem? The policy doesn't take effect for 21 days. Nick knows they'll be lucky to be alive for 21 hours.
Whereas I was thinking, let's just take the name Birdman of Alcatraz, and that's a horror film. It's a horror game.
It's a horror game.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought it was a whimsical platform where you play a Birdman.
Oh, yeah. And Alcatraz Island is, it's one of those collectathons where you're going around Alcatraz, like, collecting handcuffs and
collecting handcuffs, jail keys. You gotta release all the prisoners.
Yeah, but this is when it's
this is not while
after it's been closed,
in active use.
I think this is sometime after the movie The Rock.
But
it's still like, oh look, there's
there's the skeleton of a prisoner who was left here
accidentally. It's a metroidvania where you get different bird powers.
I could see a metroidvania set in Alcatraz, but okay, let's go a bit more serious because I feel like that's too goofy, and we don't like humor on this show. This is purely serious game design.
Always.
I do like the idea of a Metroidvania set in Alcatraz.
Yes.
But let's go back to your horror idea. You don't play the Birdman.
No.
Birdman is stalking you.
Yes.
I don't actually know the movie.
It's like some dude that has a bird and who gives a shit.
Oh, right. Okay. It's like a drama thing. Yeah, no. This is like
it's a 7-foot bird.
Yeah.
Like, and it's the size of a massive man.
I want to see like down the end of a long hallway, you see a shape, and then as they move forward into the light, the beak is the first thing you see getting illuminated as it comes forward.
Yeah.
And just like some beady eyes behind it.
So, I'm just wondering whether the majority of the game is in 2D, but
This feels like another kind of inside-ish, 3D environments, but 2D... 2D gameplay where you've got some depth. You can have some depth to it then, so you can
which
have
is
some,
very
like,
Little
deep
Nightmares
shadows
as well.
In the background. Yeah, I think it works well for this sort of game. Or like there was that old Metroidvania that came out on like it was an Xbox Live Arcade one, which was one of the earlier ones that I saw do this. Can't remember what it's called. But it had that depth thing. That was more of a shooting one. But, you'd go into a room and you could shoot the people who were behind, who were further back in the scene and that sort of thing. It wasn't all on that one gameplay level.
So I'm just wondering, what sort of size are you?
What sort of size is your character? Like, Are you a child or a... human,
I'm thinking if it's a Metroidvania, then you're finding powers and shit, and like.
Well, it doesn't. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be powers though necessarily. It could be tools or keys or whatever, right? Just to let you get into new areas. a key card that, I mean, that's not as interesting from a Metroidvania point of view. Usually you want new movement methods or, I mean, a lot of the time it is just now you can get through this type of door.
Yeah, I mean, I've just watched a randomized version of Metroid Fusion for the Game Boy Advance, and there's like 4 keycard doors throughout the whole game that you have to unlock.
So yeah, I feel like maybe this is a falling down Alcatraz in a way. Like, so you've got areas where there is a bit more verticality because there's just like floors that have just collapsed in on themselves and stuff, and then maybe at some point you get like grappling hook sort of thing, or maybe not grappling hook, but like a way to descend those areas
without killing yourself, because if you're
without dying. Yeah. What is there combat, do you reckon? Are you fighting off anything, or it's mostly like exploration with horror moments?
I think exploration with horror moments, if you have some good parkouring sort of thing, that because I think if movement is good enough, then you'll actually want to be, sort of vaulting over these things.
Yeah. I wonder if is it almost a bit
Cannabolty
flashback or Prince of Persia-esque in that way, then, of having to make these precise jumps and stuff.
Yeah,
maybe you don't want to make it that punishing, but that's what it made me think of. If you sort of
like you get a wall run sort of thing, like you get new shoes or some gum that you find under
gum,
some gum that you find under a old prisoner's thing, and you got to like chew it up a little bit and stick it on your shoes. And now you can get a little bit of wall runny stuff.
You have to do that every time to make it sticky again. So you got to like hit the X button and then use the triggers to chew.
Use the triggers to masticate. That was masticate, not masturbate.
Enunciate that very carefully. Masticate. There is a masturbation section later,
yes,
it'll get cut out for Australia.
Probably. I mean, it was that whole homage to Clarice walking down in Silence of the Lambs,
No. Is there someone masturbating?
Yes, and throws it on her. Like, it's
gross.
Absolutely disgusting. But it was an homage to that.
Right, yeah, of course. It's classic. It's classy. Yeah, we won't go into details.
Masticating.
Masticating. The gum thing, the wall running. I do kind of like the idea. Was Fusion the recent Metroid?
No, Dread was
Dread.
The latest.
In Dread, how they had the sections where you're running away from the robot
enemies,
enemies, that you could have something like that in this sort of game where it's like, there's like a chase sequence essentially, and you've got an area that's relatively limited that you have to find your way through, but this Birdman is
hungry coming after you.
Yeah. Squawking behind you. And you have to like hide in vents, wait for him to pass, climb up areas, get out of their line of sight, find your way through.
Okay.
Not make too much sound.
I'm thinking, why can't they normally descend? And I think the reason is they find like a whole heap of clean sheets that they can like tie together to make a rope.
Okay.
And they just happen to like be able to, sort of flick them down, and they fold back into nicely folded
Either
sheets.
that, or you make it a limited resource where, based on the level design, it's like, you find the one set of sheets. Okay, now you can get down this one area, but if you come across another area, it's like, you got to find more, or you got to find something else. It could be a way to sort of continuously gate the player.
Ooh, you go into one cell that is like, there's just a skeleton on the ground and then a noose hanging up in the air, and it's like, okay, I've got my rope now, and you just take the.
Oh god! One thing you could find is a map that's been made of escape tunnels, and that could be a way for you to do that sort of like, oh, if I go through this hole, I'm going to come out somewhere else, but you can't do it initially because you don't know where it's going to lead. Essentially, you get lost in the catacombs behind
and you can only go in there when you find the headlamp.
Yeah, so that could be a thing too. Of course, when I said you find a map of escape tunnels, I went to Prison Break. It's like you find someone's skin that's been tattooed upon. It's just this big flap of back skin.
For some reason, when you said Prison Break, I also went back to 2005 or 2004 and thought Lost and the numbers. And you got to find you find the numbers at one stage, and you got to enter that into like a keyboard, and that restarts a timer, sort of thing.
Yeah, well, the whole place is rigged to blow, right? By the Birdman.
Yeah,
the Birdman wants to destroy.
You got 108
Alcatraz.
minutes. Which, if you add up all the numbers, like from Lost, that's what it...
of course, yeah.
Yep. 4, 8, 15, 16, 32... Yeah?
I don't remember. You're the lost head.
Yeah, I know, and I can't remember.
Are you looking it up?
Yes.
It's going to bug you otherwise. Well, you said they ended up to
23, 42, there we go.
Yeah, okay.
4, 8, 15, 16, 23, 42. Yep.
Yeah. Well, there you go. You can time Lost if you want. This game's already crazy enough.
Yeah.
The Birdman turns into a smoke monster, and then there's a giant statue of a toe or something. I don't remember them. Fucking Lost.
And then it turns out that it's just a big religious allegory. And
yeah. 3, 2, 1 movie. All right. I like this as the title. 30 Miles from Nowhere. That
is a film by Caitlin.
I've never seen it. It's a horror.
Yes,
thing,
it is.
Like.
I've forgotten her name. It's a friend of mine. Like,
someone you know?
Yes, it's Phil's girlfriend. She actually made it.
Caitlin Collar.
Yeah, she actually.
It has a very poor IMDb rating, but a surprisingly good Rotten Tomatoes rating.
Yeah, well, that's typical because they don't like female directors. It's a really, really cool film. It's a good watch.
Well, there you go. Let's do that.
Yeah, it's better than mine, which is a Van Damme vehicle called The Shepherd. Border Patrol.
Well, we could take both. Maybe you are a shepherd that is 30 miles away with your sheep. And you have to, do something. Well, if you want to go back to horror, then maybe you have to slaughter them to, survive.
to find the wolf in sheep's clothing. One of the 30 sheep is a wolf in sheep's clothing. And you got to slaughter them all to work it out.
No, all right, let's forget the shepherd thing. I do like just 30 miles from nowhere. I like often in games when we have numbers and distances. Like, I feel like 30 miles from nowhere gives you an expanse to travel across this game. Maybe it's a road trip kind of game or something. We can stick with horror if we want, since we're on a bit of a theme, and the actual original
is a horror
movie is horror. So maybe, but I do like the idea of it sort of being a road trip thing. So maybe this is one of those tense.
Yeah,
pick up a hitchhiker.
I don't think the movie itself lends itself to a video game. So I do like the idea of that. It's a horror game sort of set 30 miles from nowhere. Like, it is in the wilderness sort of thing, almost a wrong turny sort of.
Yeah, well,
feel.
I like it being on the road. I like it being. It's like the middle part of a road trip, and you're on the overnight leg of some sort of long haul drive.
Tire blowout is how the game starts.
Okay, so we're thinking first person.
Yeah,
often that gives a better kind of more claustrophobic
first
sort
person
of horror.
Tire blowout. You literally. Say in the intro movie, oh god, I've had a tire blowout and we're 30 miles from nowhere.
I was thinking you'd do it more in character, in that sense of the game starts and you're just driving your car, and very quickly Yeah, and maybe there's an internal monologue going, or you're talking to someone on the phone, or whatever. Like, you got the exposition of who you are to a certain degree, why you're here. Yeah, you're 30 miles from nowhere.
So
we'll do that thing of we'll say the name of the game in the first.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm 30 miles from nowhere right now. Wink.
Our young college graduate. She's driving home from college for, I don't know, Thanksgiving or something like that. I think that's
we're going for the American tropey road trip thing.
Yeah, because like
because nothing happens on road trips in Australia.
I literally think this is definitely something that happens only in America, that people travel to other states to go to university.
I mean, I think it happens here, but you probably wouldn't drive back and forth.
Yeah, but the majority of people that I know just went to one of the many universities here in Melbourne.
I know. It is different because we have such concentrated areas of population, I think, is the thing. So all of those areas have their universities, and there are enough there that you don't need to the other ones are too far away to think about, really. Yeah.
But anyway, so it's a very, very American thing. She's driving home. She's on the phone to her mum.
Yeah.
Saying,
oh, sorry, Mum. Like, I was hoping to get there tonight, but it's going to be an overnight drive. I didn't get away on time.
Yeah.
30 miles from nowhere right now, and I'll see you. I'll be there in the morning when you wake up.
Yeah. Hang up the phone. Tire pop.
Tire. Yeah.
So, the next part of the game is you trying to find like a place that you can get a spare tire sort of thing. I think you don't hang up, your phone runs out of batteries. And you're like, oh shit, plug it in. You plug it into you've got a cigarette lighter charger thing. But then the tire blows out and you're like, oh fuck. Because then it's like, oh, am I going to drain the battery by charging the phone? You've almost got a little bit of resource management there of having to decide. So, again, I like the idea of, you can maybe say, oh, I think I saw a service station like a kilometre back or something like that.
It's in America, that it'd be a mile.
A mile back. Half a mile back.
Half a mile back.
3/4 a mile back.
Yeah. What?
1,200 metres. It's 1,600 metres for a mile, so...
Right.
Stupid freaking imperial system.
Yeah, okay. I thought I saw a service station 0.62 miles back. 0.621371 miles back. I'm pretty sure I saw a service station. I mean, gas station.
Oh, shit. Gas. Fuck. We're in America.
She could be an Australian. She could be an Australian in America.
Yeah. It's totally a what's her name? A Sandy Olsen from Grease. It's totally a Sandy Olsen from Grease.
This is our tribute to Olivia Newton-John.
Yeah. Just in the name. Just Sandy Olsen. That's our character name.
Sure.
And I think the other thing that she does is try to takes a tire and the can of gas. Like,
okay,
because
she's carrying them.
She's carrying them, and that's...
Is this because she doesn't have a spare or something?
Yeah,
like
I think the spare is kind of
flat.
It's flat. It's fine. It's just a little bit flat.
She's rolling. Yeah, I was going to say she's rolling the tire along, but that's not going to work if it's flat.
She's got a stick, and she's just rolling it off.
It's a very light tire to just poke it with a stick. I was just wondering if we can get some gameplay out, or not gameplay, but like interaction at least there.
Well, the idea is that because I'm imagining carrying these things is for a long way, and you're not seeing anyone, but there's just rustling in the bushes. There's like, it's very atmospheric. Like, it's pitch black. It's got that, real.
I like the idea you occasionally see cars come past, and like she calls for them. They don't stop, but their headlights just that flash as they illuminate things as they go past. You always think you see something. It's like, was that like a figure?
And
you've got no way of.
I'm just imagining you get to the gas station and there's a light on inside, and there's just a sort of flashing bulb at the front.
Oh yeah,
probably doesn't take you that long to actually get there. I'm thinking that it's
no, it can't. You couldn't have them walking too long.
Yeah, but it's just a creepy atmosphere, and there's something about more the suspense of thinking something's going to happen. And
yeah, well, actually, what I kind of like, rather than it immediately being creepy, I actually think you get there and it's like super clean, bright. There's someone friendly behind the desk, but just to sort of pull back from the creepiness of getting there, give the players a little bit of relief. But as that conversation, or like as your experience at the gas station continues, you realize, oh fuck, actually things aren't right here. Whether it's that the attendant is like
tied up
creepy.
In the background. Well, what I was thinking is this is actually a robbery that's gone wrong or something like that, and this
right, yeah,
like
okay,
it's another trope, but it's
anything
like
sort of supernatural thing at this point. It's just like shit's going wrong, yeah.
And then there's probably an action sequence to get out of there. You accidentally leave your purse behind or something like that, and then so your next thing is you got to sneak back in and get the purse back so that they don't know where you live and all this sort of stuff. And then when you finally get back to the car, then you can drive on a little bit further.
Yeah, well, that's almost the end of the first sort of little segment.
Yeah.
And by doing so, we've, introduced our character a bit.
Introduced our antagonist, because I'm picturing
that
they...
you think the person who robbed the place is going to come after you or something?
Yeah.
Going to come back,
They realise that you were a witness and you were the only witness to like, this actual eventual murder, because I think the guy is actually accidentally discharged a firearm or something like that.
Yeah, well, I think you could have a good scene, and again, you could build. And
it's when you come back in to pick up your purse that you left, that's when the shot goes off, sort of thing.
Right.
So you are actually a witness, and so you kind of, you drop the gas can, but you go running with the tire.
With the tire.
And that's how they kind of realise, oh, she came back.
Right. Yeah. I had a vision though of you're going through this sort of tense scene where it starts off really pleasant. You talk to the attendant. You're like, oh, I need a tire. Fine. You pay for the tire. You've got it ready. And you're just like, oh, I'll just grab a drink before I go. And maybe this is an option. Maybe this is an option. Maybe this is a branching thing. You don't necessarily have to see this. And they like try to stop you, but you go down and you're going like looking down the fridge, and as you get to like the end fridge, you look through and the attendant is in there, like tied up in the freezer or in the fridge or something, or like maybe behind, or maybe just like behind the drinks. You know how they can they fill it from the other side.
Yeah,
but you just see this figure there, just like mouth, like maybe they've got a fucking sign saying help or something, like. But just having that moment of like, oh shit, and then you turn around and the fucking who you thought was the attendant is behind you, and that's when you have that action scene to like get out of there or something.
Yeah. And in that particular version, you don't end up having to go back for your purse. I like the idea of that branch determines whether they kind of know.
Either way, you witness that something that they've robbed the place or murdered them or whatever.
So I think when you get back to your car, like the doors are open.
Oh shit! You're like, fuck! I didn't leave the doors open.
Your car's being ransacked, but you know that you need to get out of here. So you like, you close all the doors, get in the car.
And you left your phone in there charging, of course, or like on the charger.
and I picture that it going to a top down view sort of.
Oh, that could be cool. Yeah,
for the driving sequence that is next.
Yeah,
and then you have this car that's racing right up behind you, and then it's like this arcadey sort of chase sequence that sort of.
No, I do like that. I was thinking of another cool kind of sequence because I like the idea that you get there. Yes, the car doors are open, so the lights are on still inside. So you're like, oh shit, at least the battery hasn't run out. And you get in there, and your phone's still there. You're like, oh shit, like they didn't even take my phone. Like, what did they do here? And so you get in and you drive off, but then you realize, the phone rings or a message comes up or a picture comes up or something, or like they've changed the lock screen on it or something, right? Like it's some creepy thing. It's like, oh no, they left the phone because they've tampered with it in some way.
Are they tracking me now?
Yeah, are they tracking me? They're communicating with you via it.
I didn't check the trunk of the car.
Oh shit, and you're driving. Yeah. Oh well. It's not that she thinks that, it's that a fucking message comes up on the phone.
Maybe you should have checked the trunk of the car.
Yeah, did you check the trunk?
I'm actually seeing it
driving.
that you're driving and like the little phone message comes up on the side as you're driving.
You could do that, yeah. Like the way a lot of movies and stuff do it now, where you just kind of see the message interface of the message come up.
The message come overlaid. Up, and then you can select between a couple of things
as you're driving. Yeah,
because I'm imagining she's. Oh, it's got to be the old thumb pressing thing where you see the individual name things change.
Like the
early 2000s sort of technology phones,
right? So it's actual buttons, and you're having to what was that called?
The 6655.
Yeah, like having to hit the numbers multiple times to get to the letters. I can't remember. There was a name for that style of texting, but I can't remember.
I know. I kind of like the idea of maybe that's just a setting that you can do, 90s mode or 2000s. It's like
maybe
she's either doing swipe texting or she's having to press each individual button.
I mean, I guess it just depends on the vibe we want as well. Like we could set it in the early 2000s.
So, I think at one stage she gets run off the road.
Yeah, so I think we probably have a sequence then. Do you start hearing banging in the boot or something? Or is it more just like they were trying to freak you out and then you've got the chase sequence of them coming up behind and you get run off the road?
Yeah. And I think the final part of the game, happens to be in not necessarily a huge mansion, but just like a derelict house that you sort of run off to. Yeah. And, you're using this as like a place that you finally got to and you're trying to hide.
Yeah.
And you've just got them stalking. And so
it's like a stealth, this horror stealth
and then
sequence, essentially.
Then you can essentially do a Home Alone-esque thing of setting traps. And
you can set traps and stuff. Okay, that could be cool. So you get there first, they're coming. You look around, you find, old nails, and you make nail strips that across doors or something, and then you've just got to take them all out in some way.
Yeah, and I think it's just these two people, the person who was in the trunk,
right,
and their
the
partner.
Guy who, that's cool. I like that as a little, fairly short. But, nicely self-contained little story, little horror story.
Yeah, and have it that it's there's no supernatural elements. It's all
it's
the horror is human.
It's just the vibe. Yeah, for sure. It's just the helplessness, the power dynamics, the out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, and I do like the idea of, there are maybe some set pieces that, you're expected to sort of set, this one particular type of trap, and then you...
Look, you could... I mean, honestly, in a game like that, once you get to that point, all the traps could be predetermined and you just have that tension of, I have to find the right bits to build them or something, because you know that they're coming, or they're in the house with you and you're having to avoid them while you find the bits and then set up a trap to get them through, and then it ends on a particular trap sequence.
You're literally thinking, I just need to find a weapon, but there's nothing really available and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah. What are you thinking for visual style? Because lately, whenever I think horror, I go to that, I think we talked about last week, that PlayStation era, low res sort of thing.
I'm thinking a little bit more stylized.
Okay.
Probably, that sort of, when you think Ashen, that game Ashen, where the faces weren't necessarily all fully defined and they had that kind of...
But they've got sort of that soft-modelled look.
Soft-modelled look, the streaky paint sort of style.
Yeah.
There's something about that with maybe a little bit more definition for
I could see that.
Their faces sort of thing. A little bit harsher outline.
I like the idea that the whole game, it's this these faceless models that are just emoting through their bodies, through their body animation. And then in the final scene, there's a moment where he gets right up in your face, and as he gets close, his he grows a face, he's got a face. I just feel like him having a face after a whole game of this stylized faceless style would actually just be really shocking.
And it's a photorealistic face,
or just it's very. He's just, you can feel the emotion on it. You can feel the rage or the craziness, I guess, coming off this guy that you just couldn't see before there.
So all. You've got your first person sort of view for the start bit and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. I think the forest and that sort of stuff, especially on the top down, where it's sort of the road is just. You're just going up. But
just going vertical. Yeah, you're just going up the screen, basically. Yeah, but you've got some turns.
Some camera follows turns. The camera follows quite nicely.
Yeah.
And you've got that almost greeny blue feel of, it's night. It's got that really darkish blue, but you can still see...
Yeah. Moonlit sort of feeling.
Moonlit sort of feeling. You've got the lights coming off the front of the car. And I think
yes, definitely. Yeah.
If you get the guy coming up behind, you see the lights huge floodlights that they've got, and as they hit your car, maybe one of them turns off, and you just got this singular sort of floodlight that is just illuminating.
That's cool.
And it's sort of I know the stylized feel of you're in the middle of a chase, you've got someone texting you, you're and then the phone starts to ring, and that's where
that's definitely a fun little set piece. I think you've got really your control of the car is just steering left and right, probably at that point, accelerating, I guess. But if you slow down, you're just going to get a game over, basically.
Yeah,
I think. Or they're going to crash into you and you're going to see a scene of the crash.
And then it's that whole Prince of Persia thing of, no, that's not how it happened.
Yeah, or you just do game over. I don't know. But then combined with, potentially having to do stuff on the phone or just paying attention to the phone, splitting your attention. And it's probably only, one way that's going to play out. The scenes really plays out, but it's a good little set piece. This feels like the sort of game where...
We forgot that when she gets back, she has to very quickly change the tyre. So I think she notices that the doors are all open.
Well, yeah, I think that kind of happens as a quick little scene. And even a nice little game, a little gameplay thing where you click on all the bolts or whatever, or aim at them all. And, you do it fairly quickly.
I definitely want one of those cross...
a... T-bolt thing or whatever it is, or I don't know.
I can't remember what they're called, but
Yeah,
the cross banners.
You want that to feel a little bit tense as well, right? You're like, are they coming? Every time a car comes past, there's like... Because I'm picturing like really good voice acting from the player character, like with the breathing and stuff. So like you hear her hold her breath every time a car goes past. Mm-hmm. Just thinking, are they going to stop, or are they, who is it? That sort of thing. And then they take off. But yeah, I do feel like this is the sort of game that feels like it would be released one chapter at a time from a small studio, or like a couple of, indie devs, where the first bit you put out is just that intro and the gas station bit, right?
And the second part is the
good chunk
walking back.
The second part is walking back, the car chase,
or changing the tire,
the car chase bit, and then stopping there, and then like the third bit is going to the house and that final stealth section and stuff. I like it. That's really cool. That's it.
Yeah,
that's our show. So we only got through 2 games tonight because we're doing these shorter episodes, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. I think we had a lot of fun deep diving on that one there.
That was like, that's something that's actually doable. Like,
I like when we flesh something out that feels like, oh, we can build that.
We won't.
We don't have the art skills yet. I don't know. We won't. No, we won't, because we don't have the time or the, wherewithal to do so, as much as I'd like to. But
if someone wants to,
look,
take
if you liked it, fucking take it. Yes. I think we need to put something up in our show notes of like all Bitstorm games, Creative Commons, use them as you will. Just credit us, please. But go ahead and use the ideas.
Based on an idea from a podcast by 2 unknown guys.
Yeah, but it does well. But hey, even if you just liked the idea, shoot us a review on Podchaser. Go to podchaser.com/bitstorm, and you can review this episode. Let us know what you thought about our ideas.
And if you like the music that we play at the start and end of each episode, that song is called Mount Defiance off of the album Containment Failure by the band Kuradust. And it's available for free on kuradust.bandcamp.com.
That's right.
That's kuradust.bandcamp.com. Let's enunciate that a little bit.
So thank you again for joining us this week on Bitstorm. I'm Ben Slinger.
I'm Trevor Scott.
And I'm the Birdman!
No, my God!